In this module, we are going to explore our site properties. So in the nav tree, go ahead and select Site A, and in the property portion, you'll notice setbacks, zoning, pro forma, and earthwork. In this course, we won't be exploring earthwork. We'll focus on that in a separate course. But let's first take a look at pro forma quickly. Everything in pro forma is related to land cost, as you can see, cost related to rentals, and everything from revenue here down to parking and operating expenses. You can click Edit Pro Forma right here, where you again can make modifications to everything from your land costs, your hard costs, earthwork costs. You can slide your revenue sliders here in terms of net rentable square footage on a monthly basis, and then everything from parking down below here. Once you've made the appropriate modifications, you can save this financial model either locally or to your cloud. It'll be accessible in your deal pipeline. You can apply it to all future deals. Let's go back to the building. Let's minimize pro forma. Let's take a look at zoning. Here we can start to apply zoning conditions and see in a pass or fail mentality how our site is performing. So from the default profiles, which you'll have here, you can select a starting point, or you can simply add a new metric. So right now we have max number of units. We can say we will have a max allowable number of units on this site of 600. And you'll notice here, we are looking in the data output panel. On the tabulation tab, it says units 515. It's green because we are below our maximum allowable number of 500 units. If we add a second metric, we can take a look at things like net rentable square footage, FAR, which perhaps we have a limit of 1.5. Perfect. We're at 1.02. We stay in the green. Add a metric, building coverage, perhaps number of parcels or yield or dwelling units per acre. So we have a minimum number of dwelling units per acre of 5. And of course, as you can see over there on the right, we're at 15. So again, we're in the green. And if this is a zoning condition we want to apply or test in future sites, well, we of course can save it locally or to the cloud. So we'll just call this one LD zoning, save it locally, and it'll appear here in our local profiles. Moving up, we have setbacks. The first option we have here is to ignore roads. I recommend toggling this option on, and I'll explain why we ignore roads in a future course, but again, I highly recommend turning it on. Then we get to the default front, side, and rear setback options. So if I now switch my default setback to 20 feet, you'll notice globally on our site, our setbacks all adjust to 20 feet. If we increase that to something significant like 50 feet, again, much more noticeable. But if we'd like to control them individually, we can start to stamp front, side, and rear on any of these setbacks. So if I click this crosshair button right here, and I start selecting these setback areas, you'll notice now they all say front as opposed to default. If we go and hit side, we can click here on log cabin road, side, 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 and up here as well. And then our rear setback right here. And now we can individually control each of our setbacks. So if my setback on the front is 20 feet, 8 feet on the sides, and 12 feet in the rear, they all adhere to those changes in Canvas. As we get down to balcony, tolerance, and slope step, you'll likely leave those as they are. Typically, we see these working with the higher density typologies. So let's just go ahead and leave those as is. And if we needed to create a sloped setback condition, we could head down below here and add height limitations, but we're not going to work on those in our low density configurator.